Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And on tonight's episode of the Brewtiful Game, episode 234. Man, when I write these down now, they start to look
234.
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers. The title race carries on as both Arsenal and Man City win on the week. But with only 2 matches left for Arsenal, 3 for Man City will either slip up. And on Monday night, Manchester United were hit with another low of the season as Crystal Palace clobbered them at Selhurst Park 4-0. Then, of course, we'll backtrack a bit as we go over the rest of the Premier League action news from match week 36 in our 2-minute drill. Then we welcome back and blow the halftime whistle as the buster of the brew and the philosopher of the pint, Ron, shares with us all the news that's fit to drink in the return of Ron's beer news. And lastly, we'll close everything up with a La Liga's roundup. Now, as Ferris, then of course will be telling us who's playing for the Champions League final.
Champions!
Which will be happening on June 1st over at Wembley Stadium in London. Then it's been a bit since we checked in on the NWSL, but wouldn't you believe it? Our very own Orlando Pride's at the top of the table as they are only one of 2 teams unbeaten after 8 or so matches. Ferris will also update you on the rest of the table and even some matches tonight. See how they are faring as Orlando starts. No, what's the match tonight?
Right now I got on Gotham and Houston. I think Kansas City plays tonight. I don't know who they play, and then somebody else plays. So there's 3 games tonight. We did our midweek last week.
But first up, we've got our beer, and I think we all have a theme this go round.
It's the Germans.
Yeah. Das is good. I saw the video of you with your Das Boot in it and your
Das Boot in it. Yeah, that was pre-pandemic. It's kind of weird how we have to, categorize it in that, but that was pre-pandemic over at Hollerbacks when the Borussia Dortmund group of Orlando used to be out there and doing it. I think on that day we got clobbered by Bayern Munich like 4-0, but you know what? We sure ordered a boot and we all went around and did the boot.
And that's like the for real boot too, not that smaller boot. Yeah.
That's what I was like pre-pandemic. Because do they even do that anymore? I don't know. Is this like sanitary to pass that damn thing around anymore? Who the hell knows?
Probably not. That's why you shoot the Jägermeister afterwards.
Oh God, I'd rather punch myself square in the nuts than do Jägermeister. Listen, I don't mind a good shot. I'll do Jameson straight up. I'll do most bourbon and whiskey straight up. But Jägermeister, God Almighty. Anyways, moving right along. Not Jägermeister, but Ron and I do have the same beers. I dropped some off to him a few weeks back, and just because of work and such, we haven't been able to be in the same studio. So once again, we're all doing it remote, but we are doing the same beer tonight, courtesy of I think I'm still employed there. I don't know. I've worked this shit forever, but at Big Storm.
They get a bind. I'm sure they'll have you. Yeah.
I might be on the books. I might not. I don't know. But nonetheless, I stopped in and saw them a while ago. We did the one of their new Burmimosa can lines then, but this is we did not do a lot of this when I was there. Cold Front Bock.
Oh,
so a Doppelbock beer. It has a Billy Goat on the can there, as you can see. On their,
I'm not really sure what the point of that is, but
well, I mean, the goat, like it's the symbol on the Bock, right, the Doppelbock.
Oh, okay, yeah,
because like there's that one Ron we would always get that has the little plastic piece, or whatever, hanging on it. It's got the ram's head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I gotta look that up as to why.
Cold Front Bock on the profile, it has the little malt hops, and then it has a eater. You'd be surprised to know it's only 1 on the fruit side of things. 2 on the hops and 4 on the malts.
You want some Blake beer news for you? But it's not beer news, but it's a very Ron kind of thing for me to figure out. Due to the Bavarian accent, citizens of Munich pronounced Einbeck as Einbach or Billy Goat, and thus the beer became known as Bock, and a goat appears on the bottle labels.
How cool is that?
Nice.
Cool. This Bock.
Some beer trivia.
This is Billy Goat Bock. Comes in at 7.1% on the old ABV. And let's see, it's been about 3.68 on the old Untapped in terms of ratings. So yeah, this is what Ron and I will be both having tonight from his studio and from mine.
Well, gentlemen, I kept things with the fatherland, and I am doing an American brewed German beer as well. If you remember recently on the pod, a friend dropped off up from New Hampshire in Moat Brewing up in, pardon me, where the heck is that? Moat Mountain Brewing, I should say, up in New Hampshire. I think was it Washington Mountain? And this is their Moat Brewing. Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
Helles Lager. I love a Helles Lager. Let Helles break loose. It's got the blue kind of, it doesn't have the white on it, but it's kind of got the blue Bavarian flag vibe. Helles Lager is an easy drinking session beer of Bavaria. Traditional decoction mash, I don't know what that means, gives this beer rich caramel flavors in its malt profile. Styles light in both color and body with a delicate flavor and a medium crisp. Styles Munich Helles, colors brilliant golden. Malt Bavarian Pilsner malt, German Vienna and German Munich malt. Hops German Tettnang and Hallertau. Yeast is German lager. I love when they do all that stuff. Makes me happy. I love a good Helles Lager, so I'm looking very much forward to this.
A decoction mash is a step in the mashing performed by removing portions of the mash, boiling it, and then returning it to the mash.
Thank you. So we see people just learning a ton. And yes, Mount Washington Valley is where this Moat Brewing Company is in. It's the one in North Conway with the old historic building I talked about a few pods ago. I had their Miss Blueberry Ale.
Awesome.
All right, gents.
Shall we?
Well, ziggy, zaggy, oi, oi, oi. Let's do this. Ooh.
Okay.
Man, my only disappointment is it was a variety pack, and I have a feeling that I'm going to wish I had 6 of these.
I don't have 2 of these, but I do have another Big Storm brew that I might get to. And a fun new koozie I picked up at the Pride game. We talk NWSL a little bit later.
Harris, I'm proud of you. You got a proper glass.
I did. I have one that when I was working there, we did and every year we do the category club. So they do the Belgium series, and this was has had a nice gold font on it, so it's a good one for a Bach.
All right, gentlemen, shall we do this? Prost. Oh man, this here is mighty fine, mighty crisp, mighty drinkable.
I think mine's flat.
Really?
It's
well. Now, Ron, you remember
got next to no carbonation in it. The can was soft. So is the other one.
Oh no! Well, you got a little bit of
Oh,
carbonation. You don't have a lot. You and I have not always been the biggest Bach fans.
And I don't. This is not that. This is of the year 2024. So it's not like it was that last one that we had that one time was that was a while ago. This one's not as much. But
it's got a really sweet component to it.
Yeah, I don't think mine's quite there, but it doesn't taste as vibrant as I remember having it in the tap room. I will say that.
I find Bach's for me typically, especially like the very traditional ones, it's like fine music that I appreciate but can't jam out to. I understand it. I like it to an extent. I find a tough time slogging it down. It's like so bready typically for me.
Yes, and yes, you do get that bread. You do get those malts. I will say that I think you might be right there on. I think this might has started to go the flat side of things. I will say a friend of the pod and who we've had on before, Tony. Shortly after I dropped these off to Ron, the Pride were playing. So it's they obviously it's been a few months probably. One of the first few games, I gave him the Bach, and he absolutely loved it. But that was only a week or 2 after buying it. So I don't know, but nonetheless,
it's
the goat stares at me.
I don't personally. I don't get that much breadiness to it. I'm overpowered by the sweetness of the malt more than I'm getting bready out of it, and it's got a lot of heavy caramel in it.
Well, yeah, That's it. And Ron, I'm going to send you this is the one, Ron, that you and I tried, and we were like, I know this is a famous one, but we still kind of said the same thing. It's the Iyengar one. I don't know if that picture just
Iyengar. Yeah.
showed up. Oh my God, nope, that didn't work.
EYE.
Yeah. Do you know the one I'm talking about of theirs?
Don't we usually have that during Christmas? They have like the little reindeer on the side too.
That whole image didn't show up. Like,
yeah, I got you. That did not work. It's this one right here. You're gonna see it and go, oh yeah.
What the hell did you send to us, Blake?
I have no idea. I tried to send you something. Don't open it. It's a who knows.
Yes,
that's exactly the one. And it's got
that's
it's
exactly
got the little plastic goat. That's where I was talking about. Ryan's got the little plastic dude on the side of it. Yeah, the celebratory.
Oh yeah.
And that's a famous one. I mean, that is like one of those, like, if you want to see what the style tastes like, that's it. And it's, you know what? I think every year I'm happy to have one when it hits out, but I'm always like, yep, nope. This is why I can't do like a 4-pack of these or something like.
Yeah.
They just don't hit me. Maybe I need to be in Bavaria having some Wiener Schnitzel and having some. Now, I like the Doppelbock at, oh no. I just remembered. I think I have a bourbon barrel aged Doppelbock that's like 9 or 12%. It's like very high sitting in my fridge. I have not done. I was going to say, I did like the Doppelbock at the German Schultzbrau place I would go to in Knoxville that brews their beer. To me, it was not as caramelly that you're talking about, Ron.
And this all could also be because mine is flat like a tire.
Yeah, mine's not as flat, but mine's getting there.
Speaking of flat as a tire,
we'll get to them in a second.
Does that get us to Bayern? No, not yet. We'll get there. Flat German beer. I mean, you guys do have a typically red beer that is quite flat. So I'm just going to say, well chosen and excellent allusion to today's discussion.
Completely unattended, but you're welcome.
Yep. Ron, do you have a ceremonial quote from Mr. Ray Hudson to kick us off?
I do. Actually, I have 3, and they
are trick.
Yep, from the Dortmund game, Dortmund versus PSG in the Champions League yesterday. I'm going to go from least favorite to favorite.
Okay.
Least favorite. This match has more twists and turns than a cheap garden hose.
I do like that.
You know, it sucks when you get a cheap garden hose. It really is. You're trying to undo the damn knot. It's a pain in the ass trying to push down hard on the hose to make sure the cringe is out of it. Yeah.
Totally agree. The second one is the Dortmund attack has spread the PSG defense like spandex at Miami Beach.
Your old spandex at Miami Beach routine.
That's a good one.
And this one is, I like it because it's a kind of a bit of a throwback to our May the 4th. The Dortmund defense has to be breathing harder than Darth Vader.
Where was that last week?
Mott Hummels, you are my father.
Wasn't it like Darth Vader meant like dark father? So like when Empire Strikes Back rolled around, Germans were like, I thought he was always the dad. Was that supposed to be a surprise? Oops.
For our celebratory or our Ray Hudson quote.
Well, from Ray Hudson, we'll roll us over to the Premier League as we get kicked off. Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 0, and Manchester City 5, Wolves 1. Despite questionable penalty ordered. Let me try that again. Despite a questionable penalty awarded to Arsenal, that's a harder sentence than it sounds. Just before half, courtesy of Kai Havertz's Oscar award-winning performance, the Gunners go on to beat Bournemouth 3-0 at the Emirates. And then Erling Haaland didn't seem happy being subbed off in the 82nd minute. Who said he was a whiny baby? Was that a Michael Carrick?
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane said that.
Yeah.
But I guess scoring 4 goals alone will do that. But it was ultimately his substitute, Julian Alvarez, who fully put the match to bed with his goal 3 minutes later as Man City win 5-1.
That fifth goal was a doozy. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That was the nail in the coffin.
That's the one that Erling Haaland wanted.
Yeah, he wanted not the hat trick. He wanted the 5 goal.
He wanted the 5, yeah. Well, I mean, Bournemouth had actually been on a good run, so I didn't know quite what to expect out of this game. But, I mean...
yeah, not a surprise that they won 3-0. A shocking... how that pen is awarded based on a lot of other pens that we've seen this year is shocking, but we've been over VAR.
Is it shocking though? See, I disagree. I think at this point they're all 50-50 to me. It doesn't matter. But correct me if I'm wrong. It was called on the field a penalty, right? Yes.
So it's like, since they've been under so much pressure, it's like, hey, whatever the call on the field is, we're just not going to do anything. Like, so now they've just become completely just like, you're on your own. Like, unless it's in a offside call, you're just, whatever the call is, handball, whatever, in the box, you're on your own. We're just going to leave it that way. Which, okay, but then what's the point of VAR?
Exactly.
Because you see this, and you clearly see that it's not whoever the Bournemouth goalie is, I can't remember. Yeah, he comes out, but doesn't touch him until Havertz drags his back leg.
But you're saying he does touch him. But he does touch him.
Until Havertz initiates the contact by dragging his back leg to
where he touches him.
Right. And I don't think, it's a good thing this game didn't end 1-0, but that's a big penalty to give at the end of the first half, where Bournemouth were hanging on there. And if you get to halftime 0-0, that confidence is a game changer going into the second half. And then Trossard in the 70th and Rice very, very late on in the 97 plus. Not you just look at this result, not knowing anything about the game. You're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense on how Arsenal play this season and whatnot. But when these pens are awarding that type of things, you kind of look more into it. Like, I see how the momentum swings. You see how those type of things, go one way or the other, and it went Arsenal's way in this, and they fully went on to capitalize that, and expected goals was like 15 times what Bournemouth was, and shots and all of that, and a 3-0 win, and on to the next.
So, do you want to know your favorite Dermot?
Oh, Jesus, not that guy.
Dermot Gallagher has to say, when you see it in real time, you think it's a penalty all day long. When you see it slowed down, it's totally different. But is this what we want to do? Forensically diagnose every decision in slow motion? I'm not sure supporters do. Travers.
That's what VAR does.
Yeah, he says Travers goes to his feet and doesn't get the ball. Once you commit like that, you have to get the ball. Or goes with his feet and doesn't get the ball. Is Havertz obliged to step over him? Only he can say, but he doesn't get the ball, and the referee gives a penalty. I can understand why it's given on field, and I can understand why it's not overturned. That's
a what? Contradicted what he just previously said.
I don't know, Ron. I think you're about to say something. And I got a delay. I heard it on the delay.
I think there's a couple of different things. There's a bit of a Oscar-winning performance, as you said, but also the referee's positioning was not that great, and he was kind of screened by a couple of players.
Good point.
So he calls it. VAR does not intervene and just leaves it as call in the field. So I think it's kind of par for the course for the season.
Fair enough. All of that. Yep. Can't argue that,
I mean, yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that's why my brain doesn't think it's controversial. It is a lesser controversial of the controversial ones we've gotten.
Sure. It also helps that the game ended 3-0, right? So it's not like it ended 1-0. This was the decision that it was based off. It's just when you look at the context of the entire game, it happened right before half, where in a critical side, it's just like you get to the half at 0-0, and you're like, okay, now we stand a chance. You get there, and you're like, come on, seriously?
Although, total shots, Arsenal 25, Bournemouth 7.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. 3.38 expected goals to 0.46.
Whatever that stat is.
It's the most bogus ass, meaningless stat. Because the only thing that I love expected goals. Well, what were the actual goals? Now, in fairness, this actually made sense. 3.38, it was 3 goals, right? And then 0.46, and it was 0. So
it's monopoly money.
I think so too.
These make sense, but then there's some games you look at and you're like, wait, you didn't score a single goal, but you had 3.86 expected goals. Maybe we should start to grade that. Like, hey,
yeah. The more those kind of like fairyland stats pop up, the more annoying it is.
What's the one that is it the equivalent of what's the MLS one? The Audi. What was that?
Player index.
The Audi player index.
Audi player index.
Yes.
Yeah. With a whole bunch of stuff, they don't tell you anything about where the background of those numbers come from. About the only thing that is good in that player index is the heat map of where the player played the most. Past that, it's relatively useless.
Do you guys miss, like, I don't know, 10 years ago when VAR wasn't a thing and expected goals wasn't a thing? It was like, oh my gosh, they just had 25 shots. Like, that's a tangible stat. I watched that happen.
Yeah.
Oh crap. Okay. A big chance. Yeah, I saw a few of those. Makes sense.
Yeah. 25 shots, 5 big chances. That is more telling than the expected goals. But also, doesn't the expected goal, don't they change it throughout the match though?
Blake, if you could explain that, then God forbid the people down at the pub can explain how they come up with the point totals.
That's Ron's next
point deduction.
That's Ron's next expose is how that's calculated.
They calculate expected goals.
Yeah,
that'll be in the dead of summer between the Copa and Euros and the
so I can give you. I can
nice
give
summer
you
nap expose there.
I can give you the definition, but we still need the expose to understand how it's implemented. Collect the data and analyze goal probabilities for each shooting circumstance. Build a model of goal probabilities that relies on the measured circumstance. For each shot, determine its goal probability. Expected goals, e.g., equals the sum of the goal probabilities for each shot. Dude, that sounds
serious, Clark?
But what sucks about that version of the definition is if you go by that, there's all sorts of other factors like the distance to the goal, the angle, the goalkeeper position, blah, 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 right? How do you have a stat before the game is played of the XG?
Yeah, like I'm looking at this list. Oh, I think I see the list. Distance goalkeeper position, clarity of the shooter has to the goal mouth, amount of pressure they're under. These are all stats that happen at the moment. So what? So does this just mean if you had an expected goal based on your pattern of play, your previous action, your amount of pressure, and it was, and maybe I'm an idiot, people are listening to it right now going, do you not understand this? But I've just never heard it explained. So you could walk away going, I had 4 expected goals. I'm Man City, but we had a bad day and we drew 1-1.
Speaking of that, the expected goals for the next game we're talking about, Man City and Wolves, the score was 5-1, correct?
That is correct.
Right. So the expected goal for Man City was 3.74. Well, they scored 5. Now, in fairness, 2 of them were pens. So is that factored into expected goals? Probably not. But Wolves scored 1. That was not a pen. But yet their expected goals was only 0.35. Well, no, but they got 1 on the board. So their expected goal should at least be 1, no? Because they scored 1.
Yeah, it's very... This is very odd to me. Because even the Chelsea West Ham 5-0. Chelsea's expected goals 4.22. So, so are you literally just tracking the fact that goals are being scored? I don't.
They scored 5, right? Do pens not factor in? Because that would kind of make sense for the Man City. But even then,
XG, there is an XG stat before the game is played. So is this like the weatherman? You're just a wild ass.
Is it from all of their games combined? Then you take like the.
But what is that stat? How is that stat any different than like odds makers being like, we think it's going to be, the odds are to be a 3-1 match. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't really understand what it's doing for you, but I hear it said every week as if it has been explained and means something. I just don't know. Well, the game with Liverpool and Tottenham, it's 4-2 and expected goals for Liverpool were 3.4 and Tottenham was 1.2. Okay, well, I guess 4-2. That kind of worked out. I mean, I don't
understand why this stat matters.
Well, there you go. I get how you get it. I guess. Who cares? Why? I guess I need to.
Is this just another way of? I mean, it's like the odds, right? Unless you're betting, who really cares?
See, that's why people.
I mean, the odds. I mean, it's shocking how often the odds makers are almost spot on. So I think that has something to do with it. But nobody is betting. Oh, I bet their expected goals is going to be higher than their team's expected goals.
What? Yeah, I don't. It's
a stat that even the bookmakers can't figure out because you can't set a line to it.
So there's a company called Opta, and they have a model that calculates the likelihood of a goal being scored for all 9,609 shots taken in the 2022-2023 Premier League season, and they do it in a matter of seconds. The same goes for the 45,764 shots taken across the top 5 European leagues campaigns, and the 768,394 shots across all competitions covered globally. So they had this model uses machine learning technique called XG Boost that is powered by nearly 1 million shots from historical data. This training data is taken from 40 competitions between 2018 and 2022. So the model uses several variables from, basically from that data all the way up to the exact moment the shot is taken, evaluates how over 20 variables affect the likelihood of the goal being scored. And some of the most important factors are distance, angle, goalkeeper position, clarity, position of other players, pressure that the defenders are under, the shot type, whether it's a volley, a header, one-on-one, 1v1 the defender, the pattern of play, and the previous action to say whether it thinks that goal would go in. So they have this massive machine learning computer that tells us what we can see in.
Not the same computer that beat somebody in chess many years ago?
No, well, they would be, but the guy had a buzzer in his butt and he cheated.
Right.
Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
I don't ever know what happened to that, but I remember we definitely had that on the pod, but the guy they would be accused of putting thing in his butt to cheat.
This is how you know this show is like not really scripted, because we just went on a 20-minute XG on game 36 of the Premier League.
And ended with chess booty cheating.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, can you tell Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 0, Man City 5, Wolves 1? We're toward the end of the season, and this is the same old story because we went off on that instead.
Absolutely.
Look, at the end of the day, it's probably going to be Man City by 1 point that takes this league. It's a little frustrating. Like one game could have made a difference, but whatever. Good year. I don't even think this will start a whole conversation because we know we just have to wait. I just hate that when that comes up, that everyone goes, and I'm talking about the pundits, not just folks on Twitter, like, it's a shame about the charges overhanging Man City. Like, I feel like, God, they've got to get this stuff done so they can just stop talking about it. Even tomorrow, they acquitted them and just said, nope, we're good here. And everybody freaked out for a day. Just have it done. It's
over under 2025. Look at it done.
I think for sure. Well, they're aiming for fall of 24, right? To start.
Again, over under January 1st, 2025.
They'll decide it 25th on the 2025, May 31st. After the season is ended.
I think it happens during 2025.
Yeah.
That's what I'm more with Ron. Yeah. So I'll take after that date.
And then you watch like Man United, Arsenal, and like Chelsea will all be within like striking distance of winning that, except for inexplicably Newcastle's been great and they're the ones who are number 2 when that happens. Like
either that or we'll all win the title over the past 3 years.
You
were awarded.
Yeah,
Arsenal, you won second last year. You won last year. United, you were second the year before that. You got 2021, and Liverpool, you got 2020. I think they already got 2020. You got 2019. Congrats.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because it always comes up, like
still there.
Yeah, still there, and of course part of the reason it comes up is people are, their bench, right? How great their bench is, like, and of course it makes a run in, easier when you have this crazy bench that's so good. They can sustain a few injuries that I don't think many other clubs can do, and we've seen it right this year with the other clubs, like
They also have to play one more game than Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they have a game in hand, right? So
yes. Yeah. Arsenal has 2, they have 3.
But the schedule is not very tough for who they're playing. Mm-hmm. Whereas Arsenal have Man United, who
not tough.
Potentially could have crazy weird.
It's a derby-ish
Bruno
kinda...
puts the team on his back and scores a hattie.
If he even plays, he didn't play the other day.
Yeah.
And if we have a center back. If we have a center back that's under the age of 47 and a half.
Hey, you're a voting member. Get yourself a kit and go.
Listen,
go up there.
Do we have to talk about them next?
Well, yeah. I mean, like that's coming up. But I just want it done. I just want that done so we can stop. So we can stop talking about it. I don't like the way it hangs. It's been a fun kind of joke and ha 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 and yada yada to some extent, but now I'm just like, oh God, like I'm just kind of over it. And we'll get to the other stuff with the other clubs.
What if they do half points? Like we're going to deduct you 10.5 points. But you, because we did expected point deduction, it's going to reduce down to 8.36 points.
Yeah, but that's your expected goal reduction.
Fred, are you like 8.8? How'd you get that number? Expected point deduction. So EX to PD. How did you get down there? Where'd you get?
Do you mix the gammon tam?
8.2 points from?
Get the yank out of there.
Come on now. This ain't Moneyball.
This ain't Moneyball.
Just point deduction.
Ferris, that's the name of our show.
It ain't Moneyball.
It ain't Moneyball.
But you know what no one's really thinking about is that if they were to have expected point deduction of 0.25, carry the 2 with exponent of 3, what happens when they appeal?
We got Ron to join in on the English voice.
I thought if Ron ever joined, it was going to be like that old Monty Python sketch, and he was becoming, this is too silly, much too silly. They should not complain. They all voted for this. Good night.
I was feeling a little jolly off the 2 wins Chelsea's.
There you go. There you go. You should have seen me on the call. I'm like, yeah.
Your face, you were so happy.
Free Tennessee and beer to go.
Yeah.
I was right there with you again.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, anything else to say other than Erling Haaland was accused by Roy Keane of being a big old baby?
I didn't see it, so I have no clue.
He was
scored
a little
4
bit.
goals.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the thing is, I understand why he was taken off. Right. He scored a hat trick. The game's well in hand. It's getting chippy. People are getting stupid with their tackles, and you still have the ability to win the season. You got to keep your top players healthy.
That's why I think his whininess is kind of crappy, because like he gets kneecapped in this game, and then that's what they'll blame it on. They'll blame it on Pep, and they'll blame it on him. Do you know what I mean? Like it.
And do you know that those 4 goals took him exactly 4 goals above Cole Palmer for the Golden Boot race?
Yeah.
Now
it's 3, right? Because Cole Palmer scored in the last one.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the latest from the Premier League that I'm looking at right now on the PremierLeague.com is Erling Haaland 25, Cole Palmer 21.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
Are you counting maybe a not Premier League match?
Or like assists, maybe?
Yeah. No, I see it there.
Yeah.
Clearly,
25.
Clearly, my expected goals is clouding the reality.
Yeah. So Cole, but now here's the thing: Cole Palmer's liable to get 2 hat tricks in the next 2 games. So, I mean.
Yeah, who knows?
What's your next couple of games?
For Chelsea?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Ipswich, Leicester.
No, you got to play Bournemouth, then Brighton, then Nottingham. Oh, Cole's got a shot at this, man.
I don't know.
He can make a run.
Brighton always has our number because they look more than anything crashing the Chelsea season.
Brighton
right?
sucks. Brighton sucks this year.
I know, but
they just beat Villa. It's pretty good. We'll talk about it here in a little bit.
But playing Brighton is now like a derby, right? Anything could happen because these guys are now rivals after all the player trading and player thievery and front office thievery and all that.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you something that was like a blue beating derby down in London. South London, mates, was all. I can't. That probably wasn't South London. I don't know.
No, that was more like South Australia.
I can't do it. Can't do that one. South London was all blue on Monday night as Crystal Palace hammered a depleted Manchester United with a commanding 4-0 performance, heaping more of the blues on Erik ten Hag and his men. I appreciate that Ferris in its headline writes depleted Manchester. So that he's like making a bit of an excuse, but then, turns right around and says a commanding 4-0 performance from Crystal Palace. That is, you know what that is, my friend?
Fact. That's fact.
Good reporting on you. That's good reporting.
All of it's fact. Yep.
Bias admitted and anger approved. A lovely brace by Michael Olise and 2 other goals by Jean-Philippe Matea and defensive back Tyrick Mitchell told the story on the night for Crystal Palace as they took full advantage and more of United's defensive depletion, beating a once again very poor Man United team by a 4 spot and doing the league double of them for the first time in their entire history in 148 years. I don't know how long they've been around. The first time this has happened. Overall thoughts. I feel like we ask this every week. Ten Hag is definitely not the manager at the beginning of next year, right?
According to the odds makers, probably not. Would I like to see him get a chance under this new regime? Yes. Can you point the finger at Ten Hag for a lot of the course of the season? Absolutely. Can you look at the things that he's had to deal with Ronaldo and Greenwood and Sancho and yada, yada, yada? You can be on either side of that, say what was wrong, right? So he's had that to deal with. 14 different back lines for the Premier League season, 28 different back lines in total this season. You're starting a center defensive mid at center back who'd never played center back, even for Real Madrid or for anybody in his career. You have Johnny Evans, who was brought in to be like a leader just to the young people there, and now has ended up playing against Manchester City, Liverpool, and he's coming off an injury. So the combined age there is like 38 and a half or something. No Bruno, no Rashford. 12 injuries going into this.
Maguire, right? Maguire injured.
Maguire was injured just days before, so that took no center back. Somehow Evans was available, which he was probably like, hey, can you walk? Perfect, you're in. Because who the hell knows, So you have to take that into account. With that said, throughout the course of the season, them dropping leads, them not seeing games through, being in a group of Galatasaray and whoever, the Champions League, not getting out of that, dropping leads, that sort of thing. All of those things can be put on Ten Hag, the player strategy, that sort of thing. But you certainly could take in the injuries in that. With that said, Palace, was this their 5th win in a row? I mean, they haven't lost. We talked about it on the last pod in terms of what Oliver Glasner is doing. 4 or 5 wins here on the bounce, and just wrong team. And as Phil and I were talking that night, glad that we didn't go to the Crystal Palace and Man United game last year at this time, because that was our first ever Premier League game that I saw live, was at Selhurst Park against them, and it was a 1-1 game on the night. But this was something just different. You've had Isse and Mateta over the past few weeks scoring goals, some very good goals from there, some defensive woes by far in terms of what Casemiro playing on that back line had. Absolutely probably his worst night ever in a Man United kit by playing center back. I think it was ESPN FC that put out this like stat line that, and I'll read it word for word here. Casemiro for Man United versus Palace. He missed tackle for Elise for Palace's first goal. Goal overturned for a foul on Dean Henderson. Missed a tackle for Palace's second goal. Goal overturned for offsides. Dispossessed for Palace's fourth goal. Not his night. Yeah, no. I mean, and listen, he's only 32. Guess who else is 32? Kevin De Bruyne.
Right.
So it's not like he's completely over the hill. Just this year is not what it was last season. He's on big cash and that sort of thing, yada, yada, yada. But credit to what Crystal Palace has done. And, as we talked about Roy leaving in the job that Glasner's done to come in and do this, this was not, this was simple ball, but this was take full advantage of everything there. We're playing in front of an awesome crowd at Selhurst, and we're going to bury every chance that we can get, and we're going to heap it on, and that's what they did, and very deserved win.
I went to check the odds real fast of what the odds are, and football365.com, which is always a mess to look at because it's a million ads. And look, man, I get it. It's hard to make money, but God, their site is like brutal to look at. Don't recommend it. But I do like their report on the odds race, saying, now number one, Eric Ten Hag. It's this first line. The whole air quotes, let teams have all the shots against us and maybe they will tire themselves out tactic finally seems to be yielding precisely the results one might expect. It didn't work. It didn't work for Homer Simpson, and it isn't working for Eric Ten Hag.
I do. I feel bad for him in some respect, just from the pure amount of injuries and just everything's gone wrong this season. Just absolutely.
Ron, I don't know about you.
But he's heaped it on himself too, so I don't know.
I was gonna say, Ron, I feel like the worse they get, does it increase the chance they win the FA Cup?
Right. Jesus. Just to keep him around.
That'd be a hell of a season. Like, I believe me, I would love that. I'm gonna watch every match from here on out. I'm gonna put myself through it. We're gonna beat Arsenal 3-0, and then we're going to beat Man City 2-0, but we're going to lose to Newcastle 6-0 in between that. It's going to be the most back-ass word with no center backs and Garnacho playing us. It's going to be something that, and what was it that Ten Hag said last week? Like, we're the most exciting team to watch. In a way, yeah, you're right. For everybody else but a United fan. Because as a United fan, it just drives you nuts. But you're getting these 4-3 games against Liverpool. You're in these 4-0 one week, and then you draw 0-0 with Liverpool the next week. And you're like, what? None of this makes sense in a conventional football mind. But somehow he's doing it.
They're exciting to watch because you don't know what you're going to get.
Exactly. Absolutely my point. Yes.
Yeah. You're going to, it's like opening that random box of chocolate. And you're like, well, what's this one going to be?
No, you know what it is? What are the jelly beans on Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Birdie Botch jelly beans.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, you just know, like, you might get a good one, or you might get one that tastes like dirty socks and towels. And you're like, what the heck?
Earwax.
Yeah. God.
You know why I feel bad for Ten Hag? And this is
he has no hair?
This is genuine. No, I think he looks all right.
Works for Pep.
No, he does.
Yeah.
The amount of stupid questions he is asked in pregame and postgame pressers, just stupid.
But don't you think like him and Pochettino both get a ton of those? I feel like those two get the dumbest.
Yeah,
questions.
but I feel like Pochettino's skin is a bit harder, and he just basically says, go fuck yourself. Whereas Ten Hag honestly tries to answer it and be a little snide at the same time. But it's questions like, well, do you think the injury to Harry Maguire had something to do with your loss tonight?
Like, my answer would be like, yeah, no,
and he's like, he looks at the reporter like, are you high? And then he answers it.
Yeah.
I feel
one
really bad that he has to answer dumb questions like that.
Like the one that I love this week, and he was asked about it last week. He's like, hey, what do you think of Jadon Sancho's performance for Borussia Dortmund? And he's like, I could see why Manchester United signed him. He's a great talent. He's great. His problem, or he didn't say problem, but he was like, it had nothing to do with his play.
Right.
It's like, and then they will get, spoiler alert, Borussia Dortmund advance, and it's like Jadon Sancho is the first Man United player to get to a Champions League final since 2011. Borussia Dortmund did. He happens to be on that team on loan. Did he have a great first leg and an absolute horror of a second game? You can argue that. But just Jadon Sancho alone didn't play that game in advance. And just because you're right, he does get asked those things. Now, with that said, some of his answers makes nonsense. Like, we controlled the game, we did great. Well, you drew with Burnley 1-1. Yeah, you really didn't control the game. Like, I don't know what game you were watching, but so like some of his answers, I think he brings it upon himself. I just think it's just an absolute horrid season for him, the players. Hopefully Jim Ratcliffe and his 70-year-old I can run a marathon ass can turn it around, because I don't. Jeez.
Just get to the end of the season.
Yep.
Right?
And we got Arsenal coming up. Yippee!
I want to know, what are the expected injuries for the start of next season, right? Like
Harry Maguire's mom. Sandro Martinez has to be on there. Shaw, like Luke Shaw, absolutely. He'll play in the Euros. He'll help England win the Euros and then be out for 6 months because he sneezed wrong. Who else can we throw in there? Malacia. Do you guys know he played on the team?
Yeah.
Yep, he's still there. Mount, we actually saw him play a little bit this game. Didn't really know he was on the field. Yeah, like
that one, Chelsea
pulled the wool over our eyes on that one, didn't they? Good Lord.
Every time that pops up, I'm like, oh, right.
Louise. I mean, Anthony Martial is at the end of contract at the end of the season. Thank God. Like, who knows? It's a complete catastrophe, and the new ownership is a bright, hopefully, note, and who they brought in to hopefully get a structure there and back of house in terms of a structure and what they can do and what our youth programs are doing are all positive notes, and it's something to look forward to. But that's the only real bright light right now, because just
put your under 21s as the whole starting lineup.
Okay with that.
You probably couldn't do worse.
If you did that for the Arsenal game, I might be more concerned.
That's fair. Right?
Well, but you did the under 21s, I'd be worried, because I'm like, oh, these guys are really going to want it. Like, that would be my concern.
Right. Yes, they've had it. I think the under 18s won something. I don't know what the under 20s did, but we'll see. Why weren't they brought in for this game to play? Who knows? There's a number of things. That news of Maguire injury came late? Yeah, late Friday or late Saturday, maybe. Like it was within like 48 hours notice or less. And
what was the problem?
Hurt feelings? I don't know.
There was no Harry Maguire.
He couldn't reschedule his haircut appointment? I don't know.
But what's wild is that
it was like a muscle injury. They're all muscle injuries.
But like that's a problem. Whereas like beginning of the season, it was like, could you quit playing Maguire, please? And then it's become, please. Oh, you need Maguire.
He's been probably our best center back all season. No lie.
I mean,
like,
I don't want you to win the FA Cup, but if you did and it kept Ten Hag in this crazy situation around for the beginning of next season, it is great content for the show.
100%. I think regardless, you don't fire him right now. There's no point.
No, he's going to leave.
You see the man through it. You make a decision in the summer. That's respectful to him. That's respectful, because you're not going anywhere. You might get into Europa Conference League, maybe. You might win the FA Cup, but you allow the man just to see out the season, a horrid season, and then you make the decision from there. If your decision is, hey, he's not our guy, perfectly okay, as the partial owners that have come in are bringing in their own folks and want to bring in their own folks. But I still go back to, who are you going to bring in? Because everybody can say, everybody, fire him, get rid of him. You want to get rid of him. Who you bringing in? Right. Because you got to be, because it's not just one thing. You fire him. Who's next? Who's going to restart a brand new project?
I think it's going to be Ron's phrase of a conscious uncoupling. Is what will happen. Is we'll see. A conversation where they want to be cool and not cause a kerfluffle, and they'll say they both decided to go do other stuff. Like I think you'll.
That's That's fine. I'm okay with that. To be honest, I mean, I was on this pod saying when Ole was out that Ten Hag's the one that I wanted in this job. And can I say 100% I still want that right now? No, but I still am curious to see what Ten Hag can do by some different owners and under maybe a system. But right now it's so difficult because you can flip a coin however it lands. I'd be okay with it.
Ferris, who are the top 2-3 odds favorites right now?
What is it? Tuchel is up there.
Okay.
And Tuchel, and the funny thing is, there's reports that Bayern just reached out to Ten Hag's folks too. So figure that out. I mean, come on, this is a soap opera of European football clubs. What Tuchel? What's the bloat down in Brighton?
Ron's gonna love this.
Deserby?
No, he's number 4 right now. Okay. He's just outside of that top 3.
Okay, we bringing Ralph Rangnick back. I mean,
so it's Thomas Tuchel, Gareth Southgate, and Graham Potter.
Jesus H.
I say
I'd rather
yes.
just hang on to Ten Hag. I'd seriously rather just hang on to Ten Hag. I mean, at least he's won something for us.
I really thought, obviously we'll get the Champions League. I thought, my God, Thomas Tuchel is going to get canned from Bayern, but somehow win the Champions League, just like he did at Chelsea. Tuchel, Southgate, Graham Potter. Oh my!
I'd be okay with Southgate. I'd be okay with Southgate, but
he feels interim though, doesn't he?
The only way he's coming to Man United is if he wins the Euros with England. You go on a high note. Now let me take the biggest job in English club football.
Yeah, but
I don't know why he would do that.
Let me just ask you: the season ended, and you wanted the Euros, and you're Gareth Southgate, and let's say Tottenham and Man United reach out to you.
Well, Tottenham's not, but okay. They're set on their guy. They're set on their guy. They're despite the run form, they're not moving from him, especially the first season. Like maybe if it's as bad a season as what United just had for Postecoglou's second season, maybe. But right now, I think Tottenham fans at the very least can take away this season as going, "Hey, we have our guy."
I don't know, man. I feel like Southgate. Maybe.
But anyways, can continue with your.
But I mean, do you think? I mean, like, where does a guy like Southgate go? I mean, I know the prestige of Man United. I'm wrong. I understand the history of the prestige, man. Like,
I said the same thing. Like, why would Potter go to Chelsea?
Yeah.
You're in a great club, and you go to a club. If it goes bad, you're a 0. If it goes good, you're a hero. But the chances of it going good your first year are, well, your expected chances of it going well
your XC.
Your first year are
this is the expected pod tonight, folks.
Right? So, like, why? And I only say this because I am in the same boat. Well, Chelsea's in the same boat. If you're going to can Pochettino at the end of the year, who wants to come?
I think if Poch keeps winning out, I know it's not the longest streak, but I think he's there in the fall, especially with all the financial fair play stuff. I think he's there. If you guys just completely wipe out brutally the next 3 games, but if he can kind of
Poch
keep
isn't going anywhere.
This positive train rolling.
He's at least getting a second year.
The point is, who wants to come to a 3 to 5 year project that is fixing Man United?
Listen, I'm sure there are. All right, but are they names enough to take on a job of that magnitude? Because we've seen some of the biggest names in world football take that job and couldn't do it. Louis van Gaal. Jose was successful, if you will. David Moyes, we'll talk about him here in a little bit. I mean, are you going to pull another Scottish manager from Aberdeen? But here's the thing. Sir Alex would have been canned about, was it 2 or 3 seasons in early on for having a horrible, horrible season. But they sat in with them. And obviously we saw how that turned out. But you don't get that kind of time anymore in nowadays ball. And that's part of the problem. The big play here is there's just this aura around the club right now. And as I listen to a lot of United specific podcasts, the aura around the club is people don't know if they have a job come the end of the season because it's a new ownership group coming in and running the football side of things. right? And a lot of us have probably worked in industries or jobs that, hey, when new ownership comes in, it's kind of like, oh crap, does that new ownership want to bring in their folks, or do they want to hang on with us? Or are they going to tell us, hey, thanks for everything, but we're bringing our own folks? So that's going not only from what Ten Hag experiencing, but from all sides of things. We saw, was it John Erdahl leave his post? We've seen a few other in the past weeks leave posts at United. So from backroom staff to Ten Hag, it's kind of everybody's on that new ownership coming in. Well, we've seen a couple moves they have, but is our job safe? It's kind of that weird period, and that summer is kind of going to tell a lot in terms of what direction the new ownership group the new ownership for the football side of things on what United want to go through, because that's when it's going to be like, all right, just see out the season. Now we make our decisions, and now you're going to see kind of the plan of how we're going to go forward. And I think that's fair from both sides in a way to feel that way. Are we going to have jobs? And then from ownership group coming in saying, all right, let's see what we got here. Okay, let's see out to the end of the season, and then we'll implement our strategy, our thought, and how we want to go about it. So we shall see. To be continued. Expected hiring and firings at United. If you XG times the 4 minus the 2, take a few million off the top. If you're coming in maybe 25. I don't know.
Yeah, 1.23.
Exactly.
Whatever that means.
It also might be really naive of all of us to think that one manager is going to get them back there. This might be a 2 or 3 manager deal, right?
It could be an entire backroom staff. It could be an entire academy changeover. It could be a number of things that
you guys just need a well-oiled machine that only has to go through like a couple managers to get good again.
We've been through what since Sir Alex? Been through 4, 5.
Chelsea been through 9.
Moyes, Van Gaal. Ryan Giggs was in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
As intern. Mourinho. Ole. So yeah, 5 or 6 with maybe another intern. Ralph Rangnick. So
God, right.
Like,
jeez,
go on for days. So yeah, it's
man.
Where we thought Ten Hag was that might be here for a while. He still might be. Who knows? But right now it's not looking too good.
Here comes Tuchel. Ten Hag to Bayern. That would be so funny. Good Lord.
The Ichabod Crane of Germany.
Well, gentlemen, shall I get us to the 2-minute drills here?
Yeah, we're going to fly through some of these.
Yeah, I know. Some of them we don't have a lot to talk about. All right, let's kick it off as we go into match week 35-36 action from around the Premier League as we ask one question and make a smart-ass comment on each match in our 2-minute drill. Ron, you're on the clock first.
On Thursday, Chelsea v. Tottenham played out their match week 35 in West London as Chelsea beat Angeball 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea good, Tottenham bad. Will Angeball stay in a European League place? That's the question, gentlemen.
I don't think so, and Angelo Costa Pagalaballato does not make it to Christmas next year or next season.
Says the Arsenal fan.
I just think people have figured him out, and I don't think he's going to be able to. Because right now the expectation with Tottenham, you better be in that top 4, man, and I just don't think he's going to pull that together.
I think Tottenham stay in Europa League space. Yes, they're 4 points ahead of Newcastle, but they play Burnley, then Man City, and then Sheffield United. Odds are they should beat Burnley, should be Sheffield United at 6 points. That alone will make them safe for Europa League conference. I don't think they'll get all the way up there to surpass Villa. Villa only needs 3 points to absolutely secure it, but a point here or there might just do it in general.
You said as the Arsenal fan, but truthfully, I would love to see them obviously win out and be in the top 4. That'd be great. That would be awesome. I would love that. But I don't know, man. I just think, I'm not saying not in the Premier League. I don't know. I think people found this situation out. So unless he can, I just don't know if he sticks around next year past Christmas. Oh, forgot. I have this.
Oh, wait. We forgot to mention, though, Nicholas Jackson, 1 of 3 goals this past week. I don't know.
That's right.
Moving on.
He knows where it's at now. Luton can't quite get it done at Kenilworth Road as they can only draw with safe Everton 1-1 on Friday night. Gosh darn it. That was a big one, Luton.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I would love to see those guys do it. I don't think, obviously, that's going to be realistic. Where are we sitting right now? 26 points. Nottingham Forest. I don't know.
It's 3 points, but we'll get to Nottingham's result. Who won, and that was the 3 point, the difference here.
But they play Chelsea next.
Goal difference.
They play Chelsea next. And I realize Luton would need to win too because they've got a huge point differential. But I mean, still,
that was a big one though.
Yeah,
that was
huge.
A big one. At home, Everton just got safe. Not necessarily playing for a whole, heck of a lot. But that was a big one.
Ron, he's like, no, blow the whistle.
Does it really matter?
It matters for if we get a kit or not, Josh.
That's the only.
Oh, that's true. If Luton stayed, we're all going to get a Luton kit. Looks like we'll be all getting Ipswiches next year. Is that what we're going to go for?
Maybe. Brentford 0, Fulham 0. Not much to say here. Both teams are safe. We'll play again in the Premier League next season.
We had to make it for time. That seemed like a good one.
Newcastle moved to within 4 points of the Europa League 5th place as they hammer Burnley 4-1 with 4 different goal scorers. With 3 matches remaining for both Newcastle and Tottenham, can Newcastle salvage their season with a Europa League play season for next season? I don't think so.
I think if anything, they're going to play in Europa Conference in 6. Chelsea could catch them. Man United, hell no. But Newcastle 2 wins on the bounce here. That's good.
Yeah, but also
4
saying
in their past 5, so they've turned it around a little bit.
Tottenham, yes, they play Burnley next. They'll probably win that match, but again, they got to play Man City. There's a chance for Newcastle to get tight. This is not, it definitely. Tottenham needs to play hard out. They could totally be left here because I think Newcastle has a slightly easier run than they do.
Does Newcastle doesn't play Man City?
No. Tottenham does. What I'm saying. So
yeah.
they can get that within a point. Is all I mean. So just saying.
Newcastle I'm waiting for the inconsistency to creep back. They had quite a good run. Then they were inconsistent for a very long run. Now they seem to be getting better, but are they better for good? Or is it going to be back to inconsistency here shortly?
Time will tell. Ron, it's so fun having this button. There's all the power. All right. Nottingham get a massive win with 2 matches left as they beat already relegated Sheffield United 3-1 on the day, moving them 3 points clear of the drop zone in Luton. But really, does that matter? Because the all conversation is really about, it's official. Nottingham Forest, in their appeal of their 4-point deduction, were denied. So now that's that and out of the way, will Nottingham Forest hang on to Premier League survival? More stuff has to go right for Luton, which is hard for them. But was this right? I don't really know. Ron, as our resident expert on this, should their appeal, I know it's different situations, but Everton managed to shave a few points off in an appeal. Nottingham got none. Do you think that's because they did Nottingham at 4 points instead of the initial 10 that Everton got?
I think the original independent panel got it right for the what, whys, hows, and the penalty.
Do you think they got it?
So I think the punishment fit the crime, if you will. And so there was not really a reason. There was not any new evidence from Nottingham Forest that was really going to kind of sway this new independent panel one way or another.
I do think, though, this new independent panel got the advantage of hindsight, seeing what happened with Everton. And I'm sure it made it easier to calculate the points, if that makes sense. I don't think anyone sitting in there wanted to do a 10-point deduction like Everton had and go, you know what I mean? For
Well, also you got to think about Everton was very helpful. They were constantly trying to work, and it was a difference of the definition of how you're doing your accounting. Whereas Nottingham Forest basically was flipping the bird to the Premier League most of the time. Right?
But I don't
help them.
know what this accomplishes because they flipped the bird to them. It's only 4 points, though they're by the skin of their teeth probably going to survive. They did it. So why not do it if you're in their shoes and you got to do anything you can do to spend the money to try and stay up against these bigger teams? Does anyone learn the lesson of don't do what they did?
Well, I mean, who knows? There's so many variables in the air right now with the idea of a salary cap coming to the Premier League in June. In June, they'll all have to vote. All the clubs will have to vote on this idea of the salary cap. They don't call it a salary cap, but that's what it is. So all the rules are about to go sideways.
Are we going to get Tam and Jam and Cam and Premier League?
Please.
No, definitely not.
Erling Haaland was paid with half Tam and half Gam.
Yeah, and Sheffield United had his discovery rights.
Yeah, they discovered him.
Right, but a lot's about to change. So I think all the lessons teams are learning now are all going to be a waste of time trying to implement in the future because the rules are going to be so different come the start of next season.
I think the Premier League is getting lucky that both of these clubs have managed to stay safe. I think if they get relegated with these points deductions, it looks worse on the season. It's like they got the best of both. Yeah, they got the best of both worlds in the way that if it can be hard for these teams to stay in, which it was, but they still stay in, it feels like they were punished. You know what I mean? So, but then they don't feel like they were robbing this town or whatever. It's,
robbing Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, you can't be doing that, man. Look, Nottingham's just trying to take it to the rich boys. That's all. They just doing what they've always been doing. That's all.
Make this a quick one as well. Villa can't quite secure Champions League places yet as they drop all 3 points to Brighton, who get their first win in 7. It's been that long for Brighton, but a 1-0 win. Villa only need 3 points in their last 2 matches to absolutely secure Champions League place next year. They'll get it done, though, right? And I'll answer that one. I think they will. They're 7 points above Tottenham at the moment. Yeah. Yes, Tottenham with 3 games left can get to, they win all of them, 39 points. And if Villa happen to draw their next 2 points, or even if they draw one and lose one, then Tottenham would advance. But I don't know if that's going to quite happen. So Villa do have Liverpool coming up, so I guess it is possible. But I think Aston Villa just get over the line and get it done.
Yeah, agreed. It'll be good to see him in Champions League next year too.
Oh yeah, I think Unai Emery do quite well in Champions League.
Needs more depth, though. Depth. Though.
Yes, without question. They're going to have to spend some money.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful, not too much. Don't want to get in trouble.
Don't want to overdo that game, baby.
Liverpool are back, baby, as in Klopp's second to last match at Anfield in this farewell season. His Liverpool hand Ange Postecoglou.
And Postecoglou.
Thank you. It's my Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of this year. Right. I got good at his name after he was gone. It's his 4th straight loss and 2nd in a row, mate, with a 4-2 loss to Liverpool. Now on 78 points, Liverpool are mathematically out of the title race, but Tottenham
are not. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Not out.
Are mathematically not out of the title
me.
race. But Tottenham very well may be for their chances at Champions League next season. It's going to be close, but I do feel like Villa's got the better chance. Again, they got to play Man City, Tottenham, but the other 2 matches are not tough ones. And they've already given Man City a bit of a trouble before earlier in the season. So
yeah, and I mean Villa, they might not do it. I think they will, but they might not because they're at home to Liverpool this coming Monday. They also go away to Olympiacos and have to come from behind in that one. But then they have Palace on Sunday 19th. The way Palace is playing at Selhurst Park on the last day of the season, not guaranteed. So there is 3 they can lose to, and then that means that Tottenham have to win all 3, though. They can't draw one.
That's true. Villa,
it's possible, but we'll see.
Villa can still try to get to the Champions League via Europa. I forget about that.
Yeah, but they're down what? They're down 4-2 in that on aggregate. So, and they're at Olympiacos, I think, tomorrow.
That's a rough one to dig out of.
Yeah, they're at Stadio Georgios Karkas from National Stadium.
Yeah, Anže Post to come alive in there. You keep making fun of me. There we go.
He still can't say Pulisic, so
fair enough.
Damn it, I said that wrong.
Chelsea helped to see David Moyes out the door as the Blues drop the hammer on the Hammers. As my
say it.
Less excited.
No, read out.
Striker Nicholas Jackson bags himself a second-hand brace.
As my main man, Nicholas Jackson, bags himself a second half brace.
I'm taking the he can't get out of the club fast enough.
3 goals in his last 2 games.
He can't find a goal. How do you think he's going to find the door on the way out?
That's more than the entire Man United squad.
Someone can show him where the door is.
Hey, they keep pointing where the goal is. That hasn't helped either.
Now look, I will say that he had himself a very good game at West Ham. He was basically not Nicholas Jackson. He stayed on sides. He wasn't called offside once on this match. He made smart runs. He pulled defenders, and he actually found the net 1v1.
In fairness, it was 5-0, so the entire team was having quite a good day against West Ham.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The ball boy got one in. It was a good day.
But it was nice to see a little bit of a spark come, right after that Tottenham win, them coming out, firing probably helped save Pochettino's job. And it gave him a bunch of confidence.
Do you think this is a little bit harsh on David Moyes? I mean, they announced that he won't be coming back. He announced whatever. Julian Lopetegui, I think, is slated to have agreed terms with them. He won them a European, silverware. He's not
the first in what? How many years for the club?
Yeah, it's not something ridiculous, right? And I mean, they're only in 9th. Not terrible, but I mean, I know they had aspirations to get back into Europe, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit harsh. And like, why couldn't you do a Ten Hag and kind of just wait till the end of the season if you were?
Well, there's a couple of things that are interesting about this, right? The Hammers tried to extend Moyes' contract, but Moyes said, no, I'm not going to. Mm-hmm. Let's find out how we do at the end of the season, and then I'll sign. Right? So that kind of shows a little bit of hesitation where maybe Moyes doesn't really get on with the ownership and the front office. Right? So if the season's bang up and everything's good, then sure, okay, maybe I'll put up with you for next year. But if things aren't going that well, maybe he doesn't want to put up with them, right? Yeah. And then the Hammers go out and they start openly talking to people about replacing Moyes before they talk to Moyes. And so that kind of looks bad on the club and a little bit disrespectful to Moyes. But on the flip side of that, if you are going to get rid of Moyes, you need to start talking to managers now, right? So I don't know. It's kind of a interesting situation. But I think my take on it is that Moyes didn't want to be there all that much anymore.
I don't think this is I mean, it's a sad no one wants to see. No, he doesn't want to end it like this. But I don't think he's sad to go now. You know what I mean? Like the season was sad. Get me out of here. Let's.
I mean, if you wanted to stay, why don't you sign the contract? Why do you put it off 4.5 months to the end of the season?
Yeah. I think he knew that it wasn't going to get better, and he didn't like the situation. I mean, who knows? But like
that's
I
my
concur. All right, that gets us on over to the halftime. What is now time for all the news is fit to drink with Ron's beer news.
All right, gents, I'm going to whip through this pretty fast because we're marginally over time.
we made up some good time there, though.
The beer news for this week: the most prestigious beer competition in the world, the World Beer Cup, took place on April 24th in the great city of Las Vegas. 10,213 beers entered, or submissions for entering the competition from 2,376 breweries in 51 countries in 103 categories, 272 judges from 26 countries. That is a lot of people judging beer. And so that was held. And let's go over some notable winners. And by notable, they're either places we liked that we've been to, or, places that hit home for us. So the first one, 10 Barrel Brewing Company from Bend, Oregon, wins 4 medals, arguably winning the Beer World Cup. They win gold for their German Sparkle Party, which is a German sour. I would hate it.
German Sparkle Party. I love that.
Right. What a great name.
I'm going to look up that label.
Silver for Riviera, which is also a German sour. A bronze for Bay Window, also a German style sour. And then a gold for Ginzu, an herb spice beer. That one sounds pretty.
Do you know what a German Sparkle Party is? It's an outfit where people wear sequins, sparkles, shiny fabrics, blinky lights, glittery makeup, and rhinestones.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm still searching for the beer logo, but I just had to tell you what that actually stood for.
Another favorite brewery of ours that we've had on the podcast a couple of times, 21st Amendment Brewing from San Leandro, California, wins gold for Amendment Lager, which is an American style cream ale. My favorite domestic brewing company, Allagash Brewing in Portland, Maine, wins gold for Allagash Triple, the Belgian style triple.
Is that an alternate from what they normally do, or
nope?
Just their Belgian
They just
stuff?
entered it this time.
I got one of those sitting upstairs in the fridge right now. I've been
It is a gold medal winning beer.
That's awesome. But that was Allagash's triple, Ferris. Got the gold.
Yeah. Allagash's triple. Heck yeah.
Yeah, and that's my second favorite triple. So I'm happy about that.
Darn good triple.
Ferris, what's Ron's favorite triple?
What's that?
What's Ron's favorite triple?
Ooh, good question.
I thought it was the Allagash.
It's not the Allagash. Now, I know what it is, but it's partially because it sounds like a piece of pyrotechnic. Carmelite.
Oh, I would not have got that.
Doesn't that sound like pyro?
Sure does.
Pretty much.
But it's also insanely good.
Oh, it's the best. Blake, you and I have been to Blue Mountain Brewing in Afton, Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
They win silver for both their classic lager, which is an American cream style ale, and their wild pear contemporary goes beer.
Yeah, man.
That
was for the friend's wedding, right? Yeah. That was that one, right?
Yep. We went and got the first can glasses that we'd ever had.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at their site right now. Yep, that's where we're all hanging out and eating there for the rehearsal dinner. Kind of. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was so happy to see those guys succeed. Local Orlando, Florida favorite Crooked Can Brewing wins
all that
for Space Cowboy, their juicy / hazy Imperial IPA. Good to see those guys entering and winning. Formula Brewing from Issaquah, Washington. Gentlemen, I have been to that place. There is a stuntman's training facility in Issaquah, Washington that I
is there
taught at, and I've been to that place. They win 4 medals. Gold for Touched by Chaos, which is a British Imperial Stout. They win silver for Line in the Sand, which is a Kellerweisse.
A Keller?
A Kellerweisse.
That's right.
Like a Ron Kellerweisse?
Yeah.
Nice.
Silver for Chasing Planes, which is a Munich-style Hells, and bronze for a beer called Simpatico, which is a rye beer. Back to Florida, Fort Myers Brewing Company enters and wins a silver for Chocolate Stout, which is in the chocolate beer category.
Be weird if it was in vanilla category.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I mean,
Blake's early dad joke.
Blake, this one should be familiar. You should be familiar with Iron Hill Brewing.
Oh man, yeah. God, I haven't thought about those guys in a while.
From Lancaster, Pennsylvania, wins gold for 30 East Stout Street, which is a cream stout.
They also just their food at that joint is also fantastic.
Super good. Sometimes when they first started out, you went there more for the food than the beer.
Yeah, fair enough. The couple of the beers that were good, if I remember, when you could get their specialty ones, they would like bottle aged. Those were good, but I agreed. Now I need to go back.
Going back to Orlando, the New York Beer Project, which is oddly enough in Orlando, Florida, not New York. They win a bronze for their Orlando Lager, American style lager.
Interesting. That's one that it's one that I have not been out to yet, but I've heard some pretty good things about. Yeah.
Quite a cool place. I've been there a handful of times.
Nice.
And then the last one has some fun significance for me because in Jackson, Wyoming, which is just south of Yellowstone, I went and backpacked Yellowstone for 14 days. And then when I was done, I went to Jackson, Wyoming, and I went to the first beer I had after backpacking was in Jackson, Wyoming, Snake River Brewing Company, and they win bronze for their Zonker Stout, which is an export stout.
Nice.
And I remember it particularly good. So if you want the full list of winners, which you can sort in all kinds of different places, you can go to worldbeercup.org, and you can see all the stats and all the different, countries people came from, and everything, pretty much everything you want to know about the winners is there. So go check it out, worldbeercup.org, and you can get ready for 2025s.
Nice.
That brings us out of the halftime show and over to the La Liga's roundup. Ferris, bring us home by going all the way to Europe.
We're gonna do a little bit revoice. Say what?
Let's take us home by going all the way to Europe.
Okay, all right. Well, actually, we're gonna stay here first. I'm gonna switch it around a little bit. And I'm gonna crack a bromance was the one that we had on the pod, and I had one left, and I just feel like doing it, getting the Bach out of my mouth. But I'm gonna do it in this nice Orlando Pride Mandalorian koozie.
What? That is freaking awesome.
Please tell.
Yoda. So if they have any more when I'm there on Saturday, Blake, I will pick you up.
Please do.
They were slim pickings last time.
I'll bet those are well done. A lot of times those don't always like pan out. Those little specialty ones.
This looks great.
That looks cool.
It also I also got a die cut.
Yeah, we'll have to take a picture of it so I can put it on the pod because they basically made a soccer crest out of Mandalorian and Grogu underneath him. The way it's shaped, that's really cool. Yeah, if you find one, you got to get that here. I won't get to use it. My daughter will probably the entire time, but yeah, that's pretty rad.
And it's one of the things that they were doing
when Disney's your sponsor, right?
Exactly what I was gonna say is a lot of it was Star Wars weekend. There was we played a home match for Orlando City, which we won't get into, and then played a match as well. So on May the 4th, be with you, Orlando City. On May the 5th.
That's
6th.
Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the correct.
There you
go.
Yep.
But anyways, when Disney is your sponsor, you get some pretty cool Star Wars merch type stuff that looks a little bit more not like hey, we didn't have to copyright it because
a little more official.
To do it.
It's not the Mandalorian with 8 approved changes to not quite look like the Mandalorian. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, we'll give you an update on the NWSL. Man, I've said it many times on this pod. If you have not watched the NWSL, it's okay. This season is awesome, though. Watch some games. I know it's a little bit difficult. Maybe it's on NWSL Plus. Maybe it's on Amazon. Maybe it's on Ion. Who the hell knows? But find it. It's good. Right now, I got Seattle and Kansas City on right now. Kansas City, just based on the draw, if we're doing a live table, if they were to draw, they would be ahead of Orlando Pride. But prior to this match tonight, Orlando Pride top the table. Kansas City and Orlando Pride are the only two unbeaten teams remaining. So Kansas City's playing their 8th game right now. Pride played theirs on Sunday, which they beat Bay City. No, they play Bay City this week. Who the hell they play? Racing Louisville, sorry. Racing Louisville, they won 1-0 earlier that week. I think I talked about it on the pod. They beat North Carolina 4-1 and then beat San Diego Wave that Saturday before. So a very good run. Orlando Pride 5-0-3 on the year, 18 points. Right now they are tied with Kansas City. If this result holds for Kansas City, it just went to half against Seattle Reign 0-0. Then Kansas City would top on 18 points as well. Slightly better goal difference with 2. But again, if you're not watching these, they're super fun. Some good ball. Barbara Banda, if you have not heard that name in women's soccer,
crushing it.
My God, you should, because in her first 2 starts, goal and assist in each, first NWSL player ever to do that, got another goal in the 1-0 win on Sunday. It's coming on fire. She's such a player, so much fun to watch, even with some injuries and that sort of thing. The Pride look like they're having fun. They look together. Being there at the wall at the end of the last match, you just saw how much this team's coming together, and what Haley Carter has built and what Seb Hines is doing is they're on to something there. Who knows where that will last throughout the season, especially with an Olympic year here. But there's some good vibes happening here, and they're at least playing for each other, which is more than some of our teams can say. But
that pairing of Watt and Banda, I mean.
It's that front 3 of Watt, Banda, and Doyle. They all got a goal the other night.
They all click. It's like they can finish each other's sentences. It's so fun to watch.
Yep. I'll run down the table here in a second, but some other matches from this past week on Friday. Angel City beat Utah 2-1. Seattle Reign beat San Diego 2-1 as well. Gotham beat North Carolina 1-0 on Saturday, and Portland Thorns beat out the Spirit in a fun match in Portland. A good Sam Coffey goal there. She's absolutely one of my favorite players. I don't know why they're not starting Ashley Hatch every game. She's coming in at half and making an impact. Not so much in this game, but the past 2 games she has. But a fun game there. And then Sunday, the Dash and Kansas City tied 1-1. Our Orlando Pride beat Racing Louisville, who were undefeated up until that point. Might I add, a very good defensive Racing Louisville team. Suffered their first loss of the season as the Pride beat them 1-0 on that Barbara Banda goal. And then Chicago Red Stars on the road in San Jose beat Bay FC 2-1. And a couple matches that taking place right now. Earlier tonight, Gotham with another 1-0 win, this time over the Dash. Right now, as I was just saying, 0-0 at half between Seattle Reign and Kansas City in Lumen Field at Seattle. So Kansas City, tough place to go. We'll see if their defense can hold on. The Reign had some good play down the stretch. Seattle Reign goalkeeper made a very good save there just toward the end of the half. So we'll see. In the other game, it's also at halftime, but San Diego Wave 1-0 up over the Utah Royals. And it was a Jaden Shaw pen for that goal. Now, real quickly, we'll go over the standings live. Kansas City is first based on their draw right now. Our Pride are second. Again, both are unbeaten teams. Washington Spirit, Portland Thorns, Chicago Red Stars round out your top 5. And then 6 through 14, you have North Carolina Courage, New Jersey, New York, Gotham, 7th, San Diego Wave, 8th, Angel City, 9th, Racing Louisville, 10th, Seattle Reign, 11th, Bay FC, 12th, Houston Dash, 13th, and Utah Royals rounded out in 14th. But here's the thing. If you haven't watched this game, and I mean this in all seriousness, all the teams are good. on any given day, anybody can beat anyone. You have some tight score lines. Very rare you see anything like what the Pride did against the Courage with a 4-1 win the other day. There's some very, very good teams. There's players on all of them. There's fun players to watch on all of them. There's some star players on each to watch. So if you have not watched this league, I mean this in all seriousness, go and watch this league. The WSL is a lot of fun.
One other little footnote to add, gentlemen. It is going to be a bit of a sad part of the season, but happy tears because the chocolate milk goddess is retiring from football.
Thank you. Yep. At the end of this season. End of the season, she is retiring from where's she at right now? Where's she playing? See, where's she? How's she at? Oh God, I just forget that. Oh, she's at Gotham.
Right.
Yeah. But spent time at the Spirit, won a championship with them. And she's back. She might get a call up to the World Cup and see if she can win a gold and see what she can do with Gotham to possibly win it all this year as well before bowing out. But what a player. Good shout there, Ron. She had some funny, what did she announce it? Because she was on the street. And she's like, hey, she was like wearing this like hat and sunglasses. Like, hey, do you think that Kelly Hart should retire? And these guys are like, oh yeah, no. I mean, she's still a good player. She's still good. Blah blah blah. They had a couple of different no one really recognized that it's Kelly O'Hara asking you the question.
Yeah. And it was very cleverly done. If you go to the, the Women's Soccer Network, is that what it's called, from Men in Blazers?
Oh, the Women's Game. Yeah, I'll look it up real quick.
She essentially did that video with them and those guys. Those ladies posted it.
It's the Women's Game. I think it's Women Game MIB, but it's basically Sam US and a lot of her US friends that she played with over the time. Very good pod, good content. You don't follow that, you should follow that as well. Moving over to the Champions.
There it is.
League, as we have finalists. And gentlemen, Borussia Dortmund 1-0 winners over Mbappe guy. He's pretty special. Despite like 20-some shots from them. But Matty Hummels, the legend, the absolute legend, with a goal in this and a great defensive display. 1-0 over PSG in the second leg. We also had 1-0 over them in the first leg. So 2-0 on aggregate, and Borussia Dortmund advanced. And gentlemen, I don't think I said this on the pod. I think it happened sometime after last pod. But Marco Reus, been there for 12 years. His first season they played against Bayern Munich in 2013 UEFA Champions League and lost. But if he can go out winning a Champions League, and he announced that he will be leaving the club. He was in a contract season. Curious to see where he goes after, but absolute legend of the club. If he can go out that way, and if you haven't seen it online of him sharing his home game last week with a yellow wall, and then the away support at PSG last night, and how he just is soaking it all in. He was one that just got me into it. It was that Klopp team where it was Lewandowski, Gundogan, Piszczek. I'm missing names there, but they had a team back then. Henrik Mkhitaryan, and it was Royce at the center of that young 20-some-year-old just lighting up in that center attacking road. I plan on getting a jersey of his at the end of the season because he's just one of my absolute favorites, and hopefully I can get that with the Champions League any badge on it. But they advance over PSG. What's happening with PSG right now? Mbappe announced he's not going to come back to PSG, probably off to Madrid more than likely.
He'll get his Champions League next year.
But he exits PSG with 0 Champions League, a host of other trophies from the Uber Eats trophy, the luxurious Uber Eats trophy handed to him by Patrick Stewart.
And we discover soon to be the
McDonald's,
the
McDonald's trophy of golden fries. Yep.
It's classy. It's the Golden Arches League.
Oh, you're right. apologize. I do think he can win one more piece. I think they're playing in like the FA Cup for France here soon, so they could win that. They probably will win that. But
they called it the
PSG. But where do they go now? No more Neymar, no more Messi, no more Mbappe. Where do they go now? Pretty interesting. But Borussia Dortmund has won. And I was hoping for a German final in the second, and for 60-some minutes it looked like that up until the 88th minute, and Real Madrid said, "You know what?
Well, hold on.
We're good.
Hold on." Thomas Tuchel decided to take Kane off the board at the 85th minute, and pretty much, even though they did have a goal get called back for an offsides, it took the teeth out of that situation. You're already not going to win the Bundesliga. Do you know what I'm saying? I understand.
Yep, I agree.
It's not the Haaland situation that we were talking about earlier, right? Like I don't really know why. I don't know why you pull him right here. And he goes.
Agreed.
Who goes in for him? The dude from Stoke.
Hoselu.
Yeah.
With a brace. Yeah. Oh yeah. Random, right? A rainy Thursday in Stoke, right? And it was unbelievable. But if you didn't know, Bayern were tied. They were tied 2-2 on aggregate going into this match. Bayern in the 68-minute courtesy of Alphonso Davies was leading, which put them 3-2 up on aggregate. 88th minute, Hoselu first. 3 minutes later, in the 90th plus one, Hoselu again. 2-1, and just like that, Bayern are out.
What's that old saying? Soccer is that game that people play 90-minute on a pitch until Real Madrid wins the Champions League. Isn't that the old saying?
Yeah. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Bonkers. Some questionable stuff here. Not only the Kane, but Ron. I didn't get a chance to watch the full game, but you were saying there is some controversy with one of the goals, correct?
Yeah. So there is an offside kind of controversy that essentially boils down to the fact that play was stopped because the assistant referee believed there to be an offsides. However, the VAR technology, which was introduced in 2016 offsides, is supposed to routinely check after the fact. But it's been common for the assistants to refrain from signaling the offside, even if it appears obvious in real time, because the play could lead to a goal, and if there's a mistake, then VAR can check it out. So that's the way it's supposed to work, air quotes. But the line judge raises the flag, and the ref blows the whistle before the goal is scored. And that's the key. So the ref thought that Delet was offside, raised the flag. The referee blows the whistle before the ball goes into the goal, and therefore it cannot be reviewed by VAR. Turns out that the ref was wrong.
Jeez.
So, or I should say the line judge was wrong. So, therefore, Bayern miss out on an equalizer to send it into extra time. So there's a lot of heated words between Tuchel and the reffing staff, Mueller and the reffing staff, and there is a quote that I'm not 100% sure is accurate or inaccurate, but the linesman said to Delet, essentially, "Sorry, I made a mistake." And if that's the case, saying sorry doesn't help.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they legitimately score that goal in the death of stoppage time to push it into extra time, we don't know who the winner is. So big problems here, but they're not going to replay the game. And so therefore Real Madrid's going to move on.
So there you have it. At Wembley, June 1st, to start off June, we have a Champions League final once again. And once again, Real Madrid are in it, and they will take on this time Borussia Dortmund, who currently sit in fourth in the Bundesliga, but they're having a very magical run, and I sure hope that they can get it done. I certainly will be cheering them on. I was looking forward to going to the German joint, as Chris, who owns Schweine's, is a Bayern fan, and I was hoping that we could watch the match together there. And I'll still go there and watch the game, but it won't be quite the same. And I'm curious to see if he's going to cheer a little bit for Bayern, some German dominance there.
Same. I was looking forward to that, man. Like I was hoping for a German final. Oh, well.
I was hoping for an all German final. Yeah, which, like I said, it would be the first one since 2013. Was the first year that Marco Reus joined Borussia Dortmund, so it just kind of would have been serendipitous in that way. Is that the right word?
Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah, sure, why not? And
the Harry Kane curse is real.
Yep, he will not win a single bit of silverware this season.
And it's the first time since 2012 that Bayern Munich has not won silverware.
What an unlucky blow. I hope he wins the Euros with England or something. Like he just.
But the thing is, it was going to be in Wembley too. The finals in Wembley. I like. Oh man,
brutal.
It's real.
Brutal.
Everybody laughs when I say it, but it's real. The only thing that would have been worse is that Bayern wins this match, goes to Wembley on the final, and lose it to Borussia Dortmund in the gasping seconds, and Harry Kane doesn't win, but he was close enough to touch the trophy. That's the only way it could have been worse.
At least he'd been in England, and he could have gone out to Potch's joint afterwards, and they could have cried together and held each other.
And that has been your La Liga's Roundup.
Man, I'm just going to try to make sure no Spurs fans listen to the show anymore. That's not true. I love you. Talk all the smack you want. We still have a sport. We still have a Spurs supporter on this show. Do we have any Spurs friends?
Yeah.
I have 3.
My shout out to our ticket guy, Ron and I's season ticket holder. Adam is a Spurs fan. Tony and I and Caitlin saw him before the Pride match, and I said, Tony, ask him how his afternoon went. And Tony was like, seriously? He's like, how's the afternoon? He's like, pretty bad. And Tony's like, he made me say that. Dime me out. Come on.
I love it. All right.
And but Boyce is a Tottenham fan.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was hoping he was going to get smarter, but oh well.
Yeah. He chose them within the last few years, too.
That's the weird thing. My brother-in-law is a Spurs fan, so that's terrible.
Yeah, one of mine is too. And friend of the pod, who also works with Ferris and I to some extent, John Hemrick is a huge.
Oh, that's right, he is.
But Ron,
I forgot about that.
Your other brother-in-law is a Man City fan, and that is way worse. Even I'll say as an Arsenal fan, that's just way worse.
I can tell you, he wasn't unbearable. We went to the Orlando City match with him and Ron's nephew-in-law. There you go.
I think it would just be nephew.
But a lot of fun. A lot of fun with them. Had some good talks about soccer and
he's an all right dude.
Shared some beers. He's an all right dude.
He's an all right dude.
He did with the help of Ron, as I was telling somebody the story, iced us at Ron's bet. So later that night, he did get iced by his mom, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
And that is where they make you. It's this family tradition of making you chug Smirnoff Ice out of the cold can
and getting down on a knee while you do it. Don't forget that aspect.
It was so carbonated. It was so hard to do. Oh.
And it's cold. It's hard to chug anything that cold, too.
Yeah. Most of the time they do it warm, so it's even worse.
No, I would rather do it warm. The cold burns on the way down.
I was saying, and you burp so loud afterwards, which remind me, Ferris, before we started this pod, my daughter was very keen to talk to Uncle Ron and Uncle Ferris. And so that was when they called in, that was the first thing that was happening, is her talking to them. But waiting for you guys to be available to call, she had my headphones on, playing with the soundboard, listening to you burp Cookie Puss over and over, laughing her butt off listening to that.
Is that still on the board?
Hold for shows on a different channel. Here it goes.
Did you just burp up good beer mixed with Cookie Puss beer?
And then the other one is this one.
Holy Cookie Puss.
Those two, she kept playing over and over and over and over again.
I have one on our board that's Blake's Baijiu. I don't remember it.
Oh, yeah, the
Baijiu. Yes. Well, go ahead and play it. Well, no, I don't know if it'll come through on your.
I was able to
look like you were born.
Well, sometimes the shot glasses,
Oh my God!
Oh, right.
The cookie puss one. Oh my God! That startled me.
I forgot that Baijiu was just talking. It's like it did to you to that cookie puss. It just caught you by surprise. Oh my gosh, we have some greatest hits. We'll call them from
some good sound bites
from the weird stuff.
Listen, when you drink carbonated stuff and beer, we're going to get some good burp audio on this.
So that Baijiu,
at very least.
That Baijiu night was pretty rough.
That wasn't.
All right. Well, our beer mentions for this pod, I had from Moab Brewing Company. I had the Hell Yes Hellas Lager, friggin' delicious. What'd you guys have again?
We had a maybe flat, cold front Bach from Big Storm Brewing. Very good from tap, and when not flat, very, very good. And then I'm having one that we had on the pod in my Mandalorian, which I just sent you guys a picture of Bromance New England Hazy IPA, and ain't nothing flat about this. Darn good.
Ferris, you got us a Zlatan quote?
Sure do, my friend. This one's a good one. Don't know when he said it, in what context, but he says, "Do you know what I love about hunting? That I am no one in the woods, no one at all. I thought the animals might recognize me, but they didn't. It didn't even ask me for any autographs."
That's brilliant.
Oh my God, that's good.
He could have either said that yesterday or 15 years ago.
It wouldn't matter.
No clue.
I like to think it was yesterday, and he was like sitting in his log cabin, like in those movies where the helicopter comes in to get the old ex-Special Forces guy. Mm-hmm. And that's like where he's at right now. And when he says hunting, he's like, well, I just barehanded. I got to give the deer a chance,
Real quick, I was on some Friends of the Pod Soccer Crush podcast a few weeks back, and I've done some NWSL roundtables and stuff with them. But I was on a solo episode, so if you go back a few, you probably listen to it. But one of the questions that they asked me, one of like the Spitfire ones that they asked, and a whole bunch. It's a very, very interesting, good questions. But they asked, who would be on your zombie apocalypse team? 3 people. And do you know who I named?
Who's that?
You had to have gone with Zlatan.
Bingo.
I mean, that's
Ali Krieger.
Awesome.
And Marta. Because Ali Krieger is like the captain, right? She's like, that's going to lead you into battle. Marta's probably one of the few humans that could put Zlatan in his place. And is wicked just, when she gets fierce, she gets fierce. She won't put up with any shit. And then Zlatan's just Zlatan. So he'll like rainbow kick somebody. I might have said this on another pod. I don't remember. But he's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
It's a good list, but I feel like you needed your other third. You needed to have Ava Canaro, the Gibraltar goddess, so you got a medical personnel with you there for that can
She's
also
the
kick
one
butt.
That's like when they get to like a facility that's like guarded, and they happen to have like the single cure.
Yes,
they're not getting. She's the leader of that.
Yeah,
because she helped.
Zlatan's at the door, going, "I'll hold them off. Go inside."
Yes,
yeah, that's what's happening there.
And she's got Jose Mourinho tied up, Princess Leia style, at Jabba the Hutt.
No, but he's been
her throne.
He's been bitten though, right?
Yes.
So he's like, yeah.
Yes, 100%.
We just wrote the greatest zombie apocalypse.
Oh my God, that's pretty good too.
Screw The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I'll take it. Follow us on all the socials. If please tell folks about the show. Leave us a review on your podcast catcher of choice. Let us know. We'll try to get something fun out to you in the mail. That's it. Untapped. Follow us on there. And Ferris, your can art for your koozie.
Mm-hmm.
I had one other May the 4th joke in store that I didn't use last week, so I felt like it was slightly deeper cut. So in honor of your cut, I'll do that now. So a Jedi, a Sith, and a Mandalorian walk into a bar. Without going outside to look what they each drove in, how do you know who has the coolest car? It's the Mandalorian. He has the Beskar.
That is a deep cut.
Da 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 da. That's right. This is the way. All right. Here we go. Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.
The curse is real.